Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, let us chant, let us start. Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhu, Lavanya, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshuranmritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदेवतां परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम् ओम पवित्र पवित्र सर्वावस्थं गतो वै स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं साबाह्याभ्यन्तरं सुचैः श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु Hare Krishna, Lalit Mohan Prabhuji. Thank you for joining. And our pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. We'll start. This one. I'm start reading, from here. So we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Volume 1. Online version is different, okay? Volume 1, 2, 3 books Kalipi Chesir comparison. Okay, Volume 1, text, Chapter 19, Planting the Seed. The title name is Planting the Seed. I'm reading from here, this particular paragraph. Okay. Bill sometimes returned from his wanderings with money. 1 second, with money. And although it was not very much, he would give it to Swamiji. He liked to sleep at the storefront and spend the day on the street, returning for lunch or kirtanas or a place to sleep. He used to leave in the morning and go looking for cigarettes on the ground. To Bill, the Swami was part of the hip movement and had thus earned a place of respect in his eyes as a genuine person. Bill objected when the boys introduced signs of reverential worship toward the Swami, starting with their giving him an elevated seat in the temple. And as the boys who lived with Swami gradually began to show enthusiasm, competition, and even rivalry among themselves, Bill turned from it in disgust. He allowed that he would go on just helping the Swami in his own way, and he knew that the Swami appreciated whatever he did, so he wanted to leave it at that. Carl Jens had helped Prabhupada in times of need. He had helped with the legal work of incorporating ISKCON, signed the ISKCON charter as a trustee, and even opened his home to Swamiji when David had driven him from the Bowery loft. But those days when he and Eva had shared their apartment with him had created a tension that had never left. He liked the Swami, he respected him as a genuine sannyasi from India, but he didn't accept the conclusions of the philosophy. The talk about Krishna and the soul was fine, but the idea of giving up drugs and sex was carrying it a little too far. Now Prabhupada was settled in his new place, and Carl decided that he had done his part to help and longer needed was was no longer needed. Although he had helped Prabhupada incorporate his International Society for Krishna Consciousness, he didn't want to join it. Carl found the Second Avenue Kirtanas too public, not like the more intimate atmosphere he had enjoyed with the Swami on the Bowery. Now, the audiences were larger, and there was an element of wild letting loose that they had never had on the Bowery. Like some of the other old associates, Carl felt sheepish and reluctant to join in. In comparison to the Second Avenue Street scene, the old meetings in the fourth floor Bowery loft had seemed more mystical, like secluded meditations. One more paragraph, then over to you, devotees. Carol Baker also preferred a more sedate kirtana. She thought people were trying to take out their personal frustrations by the wild singing and dancing. The few times she did attend evening kirtanas on Second Avenue were tense moments. One time, a group of teenagers had come into the storefront mocking and shouting, "Hey, what the hell is this?" She kept thinking that at any moment a rock was going to come crashing through the big window. And anyway, her boyfriend wasn't interested. You continue, sir. Let me ask who joined here. Yeah, Lalit Mohan Raju Prabhu, please start. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Raju
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Prabhu.
Yeah, please
Yes.
continue.
Yeah. James Green felt embraced. He saw that most of the new men were making a serious commitment to the Swami, whereas he could not. He had no bad feeling toward Swami and his new movement, but he preferred to leave alone. Robert Nelson, Prabhupada's old uptown friend, never deviated in his good feelings for Prabhupada, but he always went along in his own natural way and never adopted any serious disciplines. Somehow, almost all of those who had helped Prabhupada uptown and on the Bowery did not want to go further once he began to spiritual aggression, which happened almost immediately after he moved into 22nd Avenue. New people were coming forward to assist him, and Carl, James, Carroll, and others like them felt that they were being replaced and that their obligation toward the Swami was ending. It was a kind changing of the guard. Although the members of the old guard were still his well wishers, they began to drift away. Hare Krishna.
Continue, bro. One more paragraph.
Now, so Bruce Scraff had just graduated from New York University and was applying for a job. One day, an ex-roommate told him about the Swami he had visited down on Second Avenue. They sing there, his friend said, and they have this far out thing where they have some dancing. And Allen Ginsberg was there. The Swami was difficult to understand, his friend explained. And besides that, his followers recorded his talks on a tape recorder. Why should we? Why should he have a big tape recorder? That's not very spiritual. But Bruce became interested. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Lalit Mohan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. He was already a devotee of Indian culture. 4 years ago, when he was barely 20, Bruce had worked during the summer as a steward aboard an American freighter and gone to India, where he had visited temples, bought pictures of Shiva and Ganesha, and books on Gandhi, and felt as if he were part of the culture.
River. Prabhuji. Issue.
Ah,
The issue, Prabhu.
no, I was reading. Am I audible?
No, we got lost audio.
Okay. So when he returned to NYU, he read more about India and wrote a paper on Gandhi for his history course. He would eat in Indian restaurants and attend Indian films and music recitals. And he was reading the Bhagavad Gita. He had given up eating meat. He had plans of returning to India, taking some advanced college courses, and then coming back to America to teach Eastern religions. But in the meantime, he was experimenting with LSD.
Continue, Prabhu. Continue.
Yeah. Chuck Barnett was 18 years old. ఇందాక ఎవరు బ్రో అతను బ్రూస్ ఓకే బ్రూస్ నో ఈస్ Chuck Barnett. Okay. Chuck Barnett was 18 years old. His divorced mother had recently moved to Greenwich Village, where she was studying psychology at NYU. Chuck had moved out of his mother's apartment to one on 12th Street on the Lower East Side, in the neighborhood of Allen Ginsberg and other hip poets and musicians. He was a progressive jazz flutist who worked with several professional groups in the city. He had been practicing Hatha Yoga for 6 years and had recently been experimenting with LSD. He would have visions of lotuses and concentric circles, but after coming down, he would become more involved than ever in sensuality. A close friend of Chuck's had suddenly gone homosexual that summer, leaving Chuck disgusted and cynical. Someone told Chuck that an Indian Swami was staying downtown at the Second Avenue, and so he can come one day in August to the window of the former Matchless gift store. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sapam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Steve Guarino, the son of a New York fireman, had grown up in the city and graduated from Brooklyn College in 1961. Influenced by his father, he had gone into the Navy, where he had tolerated 2 years of military routine, always waiting for the day he would be free to join his friends on the Lower East Side. Finally, a few months after the death of President Kennedy, he had been honorably discharged. Without so much as paying a visit to his parents, he had headed straight for the Lower East Side, which by then appeared vividly within his mind to be the most mystical place in the world. He was writing stories and short novels under the literary influence of Franz Kafka and others, and he began to take LSD to search and experiment with consciousness. A Love Supreme, a record by John Coltrane and the jazz musician, encouraged Steve to think that God actually existed. Just to make enough money to live, Steve had taken a job with the welfare office. One afternoon during his lunch hour, while walking down Second Avenue, he saw that Matchless gift store had a small piece of paper in the window announcing lectures in Bhagavad Gita, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Continue.
I finally found Second Avenue and First Street, and I saw through the window that there was some chanting going on inside, and some people were sitting up against the wall. Beside me on the sidewalk, some middle class people were looking in and giggling. I turned to them, and with my palms folded, I asked, "Is this where a Swami is?" They giggled and said, "Pilgrim, your search has ended." I wasn't surprised by this answer because I felt it was the truth. Bruce and Chuck, unknown to one another, lived only 2 blocks apart. After the suggestion from his friend, Bruce also made his way to the storefront. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Mata is now. Let me see. Okay. Hiya, Deepa Mata, please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Radhika Mata.
Bruce.
Hearing mode. The next Lavanya. Okay. Read Mata.
Bruce. I was looking for Hare Krishna. I had left my apartment and had walked over to Avenue B. When I decided to walk, all the way down to Houston Street. When I came to First Street, I turned right and then, walking along First Street, came to Second Avenue. All along First Street, I was seeing these Puerto Rican grocery stores, and then there was one of these churches where everyone was standing up, singing loudly, and playing tambourines. And then, further along First Street, I had a feeling that I was leaving the world, like when you're going to the airport to catch a plane. I thought, now I'm leaving a part of me behind and I'm going to something new. But when I got over to Second Avenue, I couldn't find Hare Krishna. There was a gas station, and then I walked past a little storefront, but the only sign was one that said Matchless Gifts. Then I walked back again past the store, and in the window I saw a black and white announcing a Bhagavad Gita lecture. I entered the storefront and saw a pile of shoes there, so I took off my shoes and came in and sat down near the back. Steve, I had a feeling that this was a for a while. I came in and sat down on the floor, and the boy who said his name was Roy was very courteous and friendly to me. He seemed to be one who had already experienced the meetings. He called my name and I felt at ease. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Continue, Mataji.
అది అయిపోయింది ప్రభుజీ.
Buddha.
Suddenly the Swami entered. అక్కడ ఉన్నాను. Suddenly the Swami entered, coming through the side door. He was wearing a saffron dhoti but no shirt, just a piece of cloth like a long sash, tied in a knot. Can't see, Prabhuji. Yeah. Tied across his right shoulder, leaving his arms, his left shoulder, and a part of his chest bare. When I saw him, I thought of the Buddha. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Lavanya, continue. Are you there? Haribol? Hare Krishna. Lavanya, Haribol.
పోస్ట్ చేశారా యాక్సెస్ ఏంటి మరి
Continue.
చదవనా
చదువు నాది 8:30 వరకు ఉంటుంది కదా టైం.
జస్ట్ ఇక్కడ బ్రూసా ఇది
ఏమైంది? అదే హైలైట్ కంటిన్యూ.
నేను డైరెక్ట్ చూస్తున్నా అందుకే. Bruce, there were about 15 people sitting on the floor. One man with a big beard sat up by the front on the right-hand side, leaning up against the wall. After some time, the door on the opposite side opened, and in walked the Swami. When he came in, he turned his head to see who was in his audience, and then he started right at me. Our eyes met. It was as if he was studying me. In my mind, it was like a photograph was being taken of Swami looking at me for the first time. There was a pause. Then he very gracefully got up on the dais and sat down and took out a pair of hand cymbals and began a kirtana. The kirtana was the thing that most affected me. It was the best music I had ever heard, and it had meaning. You could actually concentrate on it, and it gave you some joy to repeat the words Hare Krishna. I immediately accepted it as a spiritual practice. Chuck, I entered the storefront and sitting on a grass... Hare Krishna? Can I continue?
Go ahead, yeah.
Chuck.
Continue on internet issue.
I entered the storefront and sitting on a grass mat...
Are you able to hear me?
Yes. I entered the storefront and sitting on a grass mat on the
Continue.
hot... Are you able to hear me?
Prabhuji, Mataji is reading.
Yeah. Continue.
Mataji, continue.
Okay.
Chuck, I entered the storefront and sitting on a grass mat on the hard floor was a person who seemed at first to be neither male nor female. But when he looked at me, I couldn't even look him straight in the eyes. They were so brilliant and glistering. His skin was golden with rosy cheeks, and he had large ears that framed his face. He had 3 strands of beads, one which was at his neck, one a little longer, and other one down on his chest. He had a long forehead, which rose above his shining eyes, and there were many furrows in his brow. His arms were slender and long. His mouth was rich and full, and very dark and red and smiling, and his teeth were brighter than his eyes. He sat in a crisscross leg position that I had never seen before in any yoga book and had never seen any yogi perform. It was a sitting posture. But this right foot was crossed over the thigh and brought back beside his left hip, and one knee rested on the other directly in front of him. His very expression and gesture was different from those of any other personality I had ever seen, and I sensed that they had meanings that I didn't know, from a culture and a mood that were completely beyond this world. There was a mole on his side and a peculiar callus on his ankle, and a round callus similar to what a karate expert develops on his knuckle. He was dressed in a unhemmed cloth dyed saffron. Everything about him was exotic, and his whole effulgence made him seem to be not terrible.
Exotic. Words కొంచెం clear చూసుకో. Okay. Yeah, exotic. Ecstatic.
Everything about him was exotic, and his whole effulgence made him seem to be not even sitting in the room, but projected from some other place. He was so brilliant in color that it was like a Technicolor movie, and yet he was right there. I heard him speaking. He was sitting right there before me, yet it seemed that if I reached out to touch him, he wouldn't be there. At the same time, seeing him was not an abstract or subtle experience, but a most intense presence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Let me start again. After their first visit to the storefront, Chuck, Steve, and Bruce each got an opportunity to see the Swami upstairs in his apartment. Steve, I was on my lunch hour and had to be back in the office very soon. I was dressed in a summer business suit. Are you able to hear me? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, yes.
నా మెసేజ్ వచ్చింది మా ఇంటర్నెట్ ఈజ్ అన్స్టేబుల్ అని అందుకే అడుగుతున్నాను. క్లియరా?
It's clear.
వాయిస్ క్లియర్ నౌ?
Yes.
Steve, I was on my lunch and I had to be back in the office very soon. I was dressed in a summer business suit. I had planned it so that I had just enough time to go to the storefront and buy some books, then go to lunch and return to work. At the storefront, one of the Swami's followers said that I could go up and see the Swami. I went upstairs to his apartment and found him at his sitting place with a few boys. I must have interrupted what he was saying, but I asked him if I could purchase the 3 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. One of the devotees produced the books from the closet opposite Prabhupada's seat. I handled the books. They were a very special color, not usually seen in America. A reddish natural earth like a brick, and I asked him how much they cost. $6 each, he said. I took $20 out of my wallet and gave it to him. He seemed the only one to ask about the price of the books or give the money to, because none of the others came forward to represent him. They were just sitting back and listening to him speak. These books are commentaries on the scriptures. I asked, trying to show that I knew something about books. Swamiji said yes, they were his commentaries. Sitting, smiling at ease, Swamiji was very attractive. He seemed very strong and healthy. When he smiled, all his teeth were beautiful, and his nostrils flared aristocratically. His face was full and powerful. He was wearing an Indian cloth robe, and as he sat cross-legged, his smooth-skinned legs were partly exposed. He wore no shirt, but the upper part of his body was wrapped with an Indian cloth shawl. His limbs were quite slender, but he had a protruding belly. Hari bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now continue. I'll ask Prabhus. Raju Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Raju Prabhu. Or
Yeah, yeah.
Savan Prabhu.
These books, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
When I saw that.
When I saw
when
that,
I saw that one, Prabhu.
when I saw that Swamiji having a personally handle the sale of books, I did not want to bother him. I quickly asked him to please keep the change from my $20. I took the 3 volumes without any bag or wrapping and was standing preparing to leave when Swamiji said, "Sit down," and gestured that I should sit opposite him like others. He said, "Sit down," in a different tone of voice. It was a heavy tone and indicated that now the sale of the books was completed and I should sit with the others and listen to him speak. He was offering me an important invitation to become like one of the others, who I knew spent many hours with him during the day when I was usually at my job and not able to come. I envied their leisure in being able to learn so much from him and sit and talk intimately with him. By ending the sales transaction, and asking me to sit, he assumed that I was in need of listening to him and that I had nothing better in the world to do than stop everything else and hear him. But I was expected back at the office. I didn't want to argue, but I couldn't possibly by stay. I'm sorry, I have to go. I said definitely. I am only on my lunch hour, and I said this. I had already started to move for the door, and Swamiji responded by suddenly breaking into a wide smile and looking very charming and very happy. He seemed to appreciate that I was a working man, a young man on the go. I had not come to simply because I was unemployed and had nowhere to go and nothing to do. Approving my energetic uh, demeanor, he allowed me to take my leave. Can you continue? Yeah, Chuck. One of the devotees of storefront invited me upstairs to see the Swami in private. I was laid out of the storefront into a hallway and suddenly into a beautiful little garden with a picnic table, a bird bath, a bird house, and a flower beds. After we passed through the garden, we came to a middle class apartment building. We walked up the stairs and entered an apartment which was absolutely bare of any furniture, just white walls and a parquet floor. He led me through the front room and into the another room. And there was a Swami sitting on that same majestic spiritual presence on the thin cotton mat, which was covered by a cloth with little elephants printed on it, and leaning back on a pillow which stood against the wall. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sapam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. One night, Bruce walked home with Valley, and he told Valley about his interest in going to India and becoming a professor of Oriental literature. Why go to India? Valley asked. India has come here. Swamiji is teaching us these authentic things. Why go to India? Bruce thought Valley made sense, so he resolved to give up his long cherished idea of going to India, at least as long as he could go on visiting the Swami. Bruce, I decided to go on and speak personally to Swamiji, so I went to the storefront. I found out that he lived in an apartment in the rare building. A boy told me the number, and I said I could just go and speak with the Swami. He said, yes, just go. So I walked through the storefront, and there was a little courtyard where some plants were growing. Usually in New York, there is no courtyard, nothing green, but this was very attractive. And in that courtyard, there was a boy typing at a picnic table, and he looked very spiritual and dedicated. I hurried upstairs and rang the bell for apartment number 2C. After a little while, the door opened, and it was the Swami. Yes, he said. And I said, I would like to speak to you. He opened the door wider and stepped back and said, yes, come. We went inside together into his sitting room, and he sat down facing each other. He sat behind his metal trunk desk on a very thin mat which was covered with a wooden blanket-like cover that had frazzled ends and elephants decorating it. He asked me my name, and I told him it was Bruce. And then he remarked, in India, during the British period, there was one Lord Bruce, and he said something about Lord Bruce being a general and engaging in some campaigns.
Hari Bol. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Now take over. Lavanya, open this particular, this line. I felt that. I'm copying here in the chart. Yeah, you search that. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Lavanya.
చూస్తున్నా యా ఇవ్వండి మోస్ట్ యాక్సెసిబుల్
No, it's okay. It's no, open it first.
యా చేశాను నేను ఆల్రెడీ
Okay, let me stop here. Hey, share చేయలేదు
మీరు హోస్ట్ చేశారా
అది హోస్ట్ చేయకుండా కూడా ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే,
ఓపెన్ చేశాను
మరి ఇక్కడ రావట్లేదు.
షేర్ స్క్రీన్ చేయాలి 1 సెకండ్
I made you host also. Okay, so thank you so much, devotees. Small group, ఇంకొంచెం మంచిగా చదవండి ఎక్కువసేపు. రుద్ర గీత కూడా జస్ట్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. There are, I think 15 verses we practiced and we took break in between. Bhakti Vaibhava exam అని, తర్వాత Bhakti Shastra exam అని. So recite those. PDF is with Lavanya and in the group also. So please share. Thank you so much again. Vancha kalpataru Krupa Sindhu Bevacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namah. Anantakoti Vaishnavvrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Hari Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. I'm dropping off. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Radhika Mataji, Hare Krishna. She's hearing mode. Radhika Mataji. Yeah, Deepa Mataji, you can continue, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, I felt దగ్గర నుంచే కదా.
Yes.
I felt that I had to talk to the Swami to tell him my story, and I actually found him interested to listen. It was very intimate, sitting with him in his apartment, and he was actually wanting to hear about me. While we were talking, he looked up past me, high up on the wall behind me, and he was talking about Lord Chaitanya. The way he looked up, he was obviously looking at some picture or something, but with an expression of deep love in his eyes. I turned around to see what made him look like that. Then I saw the picture in the brown frame, Lord Chaitanya dancing in Kirtan. Sorry. Inevitably, meeting with Prabhupada meant a philosophical discussion. Chuck, I asked him, can you teach me Raja Yoga? Oh, he said, here is Bhagavad Gita. He handed me a copy of the Gita. Turn to the last verse of the 6th chapter, he said, and read. I read the translation out loud. And of all yogis, he who is worshipping me with faith and devotion, I consider to be the best. I could not comprehend what faith and devotion meant. So I said, sometimes I'm getting some light in my forehead. That is hallucination, he said. So abruptly he said it. Although he did not strain his person, the words came at me so intensely that it completely shocked me. Raja means king, king yoga, he said. But this is emperor yoga. Just 1 second, Mati.
Yeah, you can read, Mataji.
Yeah. I knew that he had attained such a high state not by using chemicals from a laboratory or by any Western speculative process, and this was certainly what I wanted. Are you giving classes? I asked, he said. He said, yes. If you come at 6 in the morning, I'm giving classes in the Gita and bring some flour or food for the deity. I looked into the adjoining room, which was bare with a wooden parquet floor, bare walls, and a tiny table, and on the table was a picture of 5 human-like figures with their arms raised above their heads. Somehow their arms and faces were not like any mortal that I had ever seen. I knew that the picture was looking at me. When I came out on the street in front of the storefront, there were a few people standing around, and I said, I don't think I am going to take LSD anymore. I said it out loud to myself, but some other people heard me. Steve,
Yes.
I wanted to show my appreciation for spiritual India, so I presented to Swamiji that I had read the autobiography of Gandhi. It was glorious, I said. What is glorious about it? Swamiji challenged.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Lalit Mohan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare
Steve.
Krishna.
Yeah. Acha, okay. Swamiji challenged, okay? Okay. When he asked this, there were others present in the room. Although I was a guest, he had no qualms about challenging me for having said something foolish. I searched through my remembrance of Gandhi's autobiography to answer his challenging question. What is glorious? I began to relate that one time Gandhi, as a child, although raised as a vegetarian, was induced by some of his friends to eat meat, and that night he felt that a lamb was howling in his belly. Swamiji dismissed that at once, saying, "Most of India is vegetarian. That is not glorious." I couldn't think of anything else glorious to say, and Swamiji said, his autobiography is called Experiments with Truth, but that is not the nature of truth. It is not to be found by someone's experimenting. Truth is always truth. Mataji, I just wanted to read this again.
Yes,
His
sir.
his autobiography is called Experiments with Truth, but that is not the nature of truth. It is not to be found by someone's experimenting. Truth is always truth. Jay. Okay. Although it was a blow to my ego, being exposed and defeated by Swamiji seemed to be a gain for me. I wanted to bring before him many different things for his judgment, just to see what he had to say about them. I showed him the paperback edition of Bhagavad Gita that I was reading and carrying in my back pocket. He perused the back cover. There was a reference to the eternal faith of Hindus, and Swamiji began to take the phrase apart. He explained how the word Hindu was a misnomer and does not occur anywhere in the Sanskrit literature itself. He also explained that Hinduism and Hindu beliefs were not eternal. Sorry, Hindu beliefs were not eternal. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, you can read this para also. Bruce.
Yeah, okay, Mataji. Thank you. Bruce, after I talked about my desire for religious life, I began telling him about a conflict I had with one of my professors in the English literature. He was a Freudian. So he would explain the characters in all the novels and so on in a Freudian context and with Freudian terminology. Everything was sexual. The mother for the son for that one, and so on. But I would always see it in terms of religious essence. I would
I
see
think
it
this
in
is
terms of
what is Sigmund Freud? I think it is Freudian, Prabhuji.
Freudian. Okay, I had never heard
Sigmund
this
Freud
terminology.
ఉన్నాడు కదా సైకాలజిస్ట్
Acha Vada. Okay, okay.
వాడే వీడు.
Freud. Okay. Oh. Okay, it's Freudian. Okay, Mataji. Huh. Okay. Okay, I would see it in terms of a religious impulse or some desire to understand God. I would write my papers in that context, and he would always say, the religious can also be interpreted as Freudian. So I didn't do very well in the course. I was mentioning this to the Swami, and he said, your professor is correct. I was surprised. I'm going to an Indian Swami, and he's saying that the professor was correct, that everything is based on sex and not religion. This kind of pulled the rug out from under me when he said that. Then he qualified what he had said. He explained that in the material world, everyone is operating on the basis of sex. Everything that everyone is doing is being driven by the sex impulse. So he said, Freud is correct. Everything is on the basis of sex. Then he clarified what material life is and what spiritual life is. In spiritual life, there is a complete absence of sex desire. So this had a profound effect on me. Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji. I'm done.
Thank you, Prabhu. Raju Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji unnara Prabhuji? Chavutara?
లేదు తను లేదు Mataji.
Okay, you can read Prabhuji.
Yeah, he wasn't confirming my old sentimental ideas, but he was giving me new ideas. He was giving me his instructions, and I had to accept them. Talking to the Swami was very nice. I found him completely natural, and I found him to be very artistic. The way he held his head, the way he enunciated his words, very dignified, very gentlemanly. The boys found Swamiji not only philosophical but personal also. Steve, a few nights later, I went to see the Swami and told him I was reading his book. One thing that had especially caught my attention was a section where the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva, was admitting that he was feeling despondent. Then his spiritual master Narada explained that his despondency had come because although he had written so many books, he had neglected to write in such a way that as fully to glorify Krishna. After hearing this, Vyasadeva compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. When I read this, I identified with the fact that Vyasadeva was a writer because I considered myself as a writer also, and I know that I was also despondent. This was very interesting about the author Vyasadeva. I said he wrote so many books, but still he was not satisfied because he had not directly praised Krishna. Although I had very little understanding of Krishna consciousness, Swamiji opened his eyes very wide, surprised that I was speaking on such an elevated subject from the Srimad Bhagavatam. He seemed pleased. Prabhuji, వీళ్ళు ఎవరు ప్రభుజీ? చక్క ఇది బ్రూస్ ఎవరు? స్టీవ్
వీళ్ళు అంటే ఇప్పుడు వీళ్ళ ముగ్గురు ప్రభు అంటే ముందు వీళ్ళ పేర్లు ఏమవుతాయో తెలీదు, బట్ మెనీ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ హ్యాడ్ లెఫ్ట్ ఇస్కాన్ ఆల్సో ఆఫ్టర్ ప్రభుపాద్ లివింగ్, మెనీ ఆఫ్ దిస్ డివోటీస్.
ఓకే ఓకే,
అందరి గుర్తులో ప్రభు ముగ్గురు నలుగురు గుర్తున్నాయి. అంటే లెట్ us see ప్రభుజీ, because I haven't studied it properly. I have only studied small versions, not a big version till now. Okay,
తర్వాత వస్తుంది ప్రభుజీ, తర్వాత వాల్యూమ్స్ లో ఎవరెవరు ఏమేం పేర్లతో ఇనిషియేట్ అయ్యారో వస్తుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే మాత.
Sapan Kumar Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Chuck, I had come by in the afternoon and Swamiji had given me a plate of prasadam. So I was eating and a chili burned my mouth. Swamiji said, "Is it too hot?" "Yes," I said. So he brought me a tiny teacup with some milk, and then he took some rice off my plate and took a piece of banana and crushed it all up together with his fingers and said, "Here, eat this. It'll kill the action of the chilies." Bruce, there wasn't anything superficial about him, nor was he ever contrived, trying to make some impression. He was just completely himself. In the Swami's room, there was no furniture. We sat on the floor, and I found this to be very attractive and simple. Everything was so authentic about him. Uptown at another Swami's place, we had sat on big stuffed living room chairs, and the place had been lavishly furnished. But here was the downtown Swami wearing simple cloth robes. He had no business suit on. He wasn't covering up a business suit with those saffron robes, and he wasn't affected as the other Swami was. So I found myself asking him if I could be his student, and he said yes. I was very happy because he was so different from the other Swami. With the Uptown Swami, I was wanting to become a student because I wanted to get something from him. I wanted to get knowledge. It was selfishly motivated. Here I was actually emotionally involved. I was feeling that I wanted to become the Swami student. I actually wanted to give myself because I thought he was great and what he was giving was pure and pristine and wonderful. It was a soothing balm for the horrible city life. Uptown, I had felt like a stranger. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll read this one. And then. On one occasion, our conversation turned to my previous trip to India in 1962, and I began talking about him, how much it meant to me, how much it moved me. I even mentioned that I had made a girlfriend there. So we got to talking about that I told him that I had her picture. I was carrying the girl's picture in my wallet. So Swamiji asked to see. I took out the picture and Swamiji looked at it and made a sour face and said, "Oh, she's not pretty. Girls in India are more beautiful than that." Hearing that from the Swami just killed any attachment I had for that girl. I felt ashamed that I had an interest in a girl that the Swami did not consider pretty. I don't think I ever looked at the photograph again, and certainly I never gave her another thought. Hare Krishna.
How simple and straight he is, huh?
But వాళ్ళు కూడా గురువు మీద అంత పెట్టుకున్నారు కదా ప్రభుజీ.
Yeah. See, the conversations are so plain and neat. No
చెప్పగానే
express nothing.
they took it for life and soul. Yeah.
So much instant transformation, Prabhuji. In one case, he comes out of the room and says that after this, I won't take LSD again.
Yes.
And here, instantly, he says that he never looked at that picture after that. So with Prabhupada in his presence, everything is, instant transformation.
Transformation, yes. Very nice. Tomorrow we will start this better. Okay.
Mataji, these are done actually. 44, 45 చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను. 45 చేయాలనుకుంటా. 45, 46 చేయాలి. అవి ఉన్నాయా మాతాజీ?
45 చేయాలా ప్రభుజీ? ఎందుకంటే నేను that time I was absent for my kids exam. So
45 చేయాలి మాతాజీ.
45 తో స్టార్ట్ చేయాలా? ఓకే, జస్ట్ a second.
45, 46 కలిపి ఉంటాయి. అది స్టార్ట్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
ఓకే, జస్ట్ a second.
Can you share it from Chrome, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Just a second, Prabhuji. I'm scaring.
Yeah. Okay.
ప్రభుజీ, మా ప్రభుజీ రీసెంట్ గా పంపించింది ఇదేనా లైక్ గ్రూప్ లో? బికాజ్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్లీ హ్యాస్ శ్లోకాస్.
ఇదే మాతాజీ, అంతే.
శ్లోకాసే ఉన్నాయి ప్రభుజీ.
Never mind, Mataji. We will do one by one. We will go word by word and then we will go with the sloka. Only one sloka we will do today, 45, and 46 we will do tomorrow, slowly. Okay? అంటే ప్రతి వర్డ్ చూసుకుని స్లోగా వెళ్దాం. ఇవాళ టైం ఉంది కదా, ఇట్స్ ఓన్లీ 8:50. సో 9-10 కల్లా మనం క్లోజ్ చేసేద్దాం మాతాజీ.
Just a second, I'll open up in the Veda base. Just a second.
Yeah. So I request everyone to open 4:24:45 in their own phones or laptops by the time Mataji will share. 4:24:45. SB 4:24:45 in Veda base. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Lavanya Mataji అవుతుంది అది?
Is this sloka Prabhuji? 4:24:45?
ఇదే మాతాజీ, స్నిగ్ధ ప్రావృత అనుష్ఠానం.
సో రెండు ఉన్నాయి ప్రభుజీ కలిపి.
ఓకే. సో ఆ రెండు ఉన్నాయి. ఫస్ట్ ఇవాళ ఒకటి చేద్దాం మాతాజీ, రేపు ఒకటి చేద్దాం. రెండు కలిపి మళ్ళీ రేపు లాస్ట్ లో మొత్తం రెండు కలిపి ఒకసారి చేద్దాం. ఓకే. దిస్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ హోల్ మన కృష్ణస్ బాడీలీ ఫీచర్. దిస్ ఇస్ కృష్ణస్ బాడీలీ ఫీచర్, హౌ రుద్ర వాజ్ లుకింగ్ అట్. ఓకే. సో ఆయన ముందు ఏమంటాడు, యాక్చువల్లీ మీ ప్యూర్ డివోటీస్కి ఎవరైతే ఎట్లయితే చూపిస్తావో అట్లా చూపించాను అంటాడు. బట్ హౌ హీ కుడ్ సీ లార్డ్ ఇన్ చతుర్బాహు. ఓకే. నాట్ in 200 form. He will do it in a 400 form. He can recognize his Lord in his 400 form. Okay. Snigdha Pravrud. Pravrud means, Snigdha means one which is glistening and very malleable. Okay. What is the most malleable metal in the world? It is gold. Malleability means the ability for a metal to be in a very thin sheets. The most thinnest of the sheets can be done by gold only. Okay. It is said that in the 10th canto and 9th canto also, there are descriptions of how the gold layer leaflets, okay, they were curtains of made of gold. To such an extent it can be malleable. Okay. It can be molded. So whenever this snigdha comes, it is glistening metal. So what is the most glistening metal? It is gold. Okay. That which shines. Pravrad means here it is a rainy cloud. So that rainy cloud which shines. Ghanashyamam. So how that cloud is? Ghanashyamam. Very ghana, very thick, dense cloud. Okay. Which is rainy cloud. And that is glistening also. So that is how Rudra could see Krishna or see his Lord. Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. All beauties, when they are brought together and amalgamated, whatever you get, that is how he looks like. Okay. Charva Ayata Chaturbahu. Ayata means Ayam means body. Okay. Charvayata means beautiful body. Chaturbahu, and but that body has what? Four hands. Okay. 4 arms. Sujata. Sujata means the most beautiful. Ruchir Ananam. Ananam means again face, forehead. Ruchir means beautiful. That person who has a beautiful forehead. And how is he? Charvayata Chaturbahu. Charvayata means most beautiful bodily feature and four-handed form and Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. All the beauties mixed together. Okay. Snigdha Pravrat Ghanashyamam. Snigdha Pravrat means that glistening rain cloud which is very dense. That is how his body looks like. So this is what the half description of Lord Rudra to his Lord, how he could see his Lord. Okay. So Krishna is not showing him 200 form. He is showing the 400 form to him. Okay. So could you connect na? You could connect na to these words. By this time, see, Pravrid is the new word here. Snigdha we have already come across many times. Okay. Ghanashyamam everyone knows. Black dense cloud. Okay. Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. This is, everyone knows this. Sangraham means it's a association or it's an amalgamation of what? Sarva Saundarya. All beauties in this material world. Charva Ayata. Ayata means body. This is a new word. Chaturbahu. Everyone knows Chaturbahu. Okay. Yeah, Sujata. Sujata means very beautiful. Okay. Ruchir Ananam. Ananam means Yasyananam Makara Kunda. So Ananam means forehead. That person who has a very beautiful forehead. Okay, now we will go line by line 3 times. I want 3 devotees na, to read synonyms till Ananam. Okay. 3 devotees, please go ahead. Synonyms till Ananam.
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Snigdha, glistening, Pravrit, rainy season. Ghanashyamam, densely cloudy. Sarva, all. Saundarya, beauty. Sangraham, collection. Charu, beautiful. Ayata, bodily feature. Chatubahu, unto the forearmed. Sujata, ultimately beautiful. Ruchira, very pleasing. Ananam, face. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. One more devotee.
Yes, Prabhuji. Snigdha,
Yeah, go ahead.
glistening. Pravrit, rainy season. Ghanashyamam, densely cloudy. Sarva, all. Saundarya, beauty. Sangraham, collection. Charu, beautiful. Ayata, bodily feature. Chatu, bahu, unto the forearmed. Sujata, ultimately beautiful. Ruchira, very pleasing. Ananam, face. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. 2 devotees can read the translation. How is the translation for this? All together? Hare. Okay, then leave it. Leave the translation. One more devotee can do with the what is the synonyms only till Ananam. Okay.
I will do Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Snigdha, glistening, Pravrut, rainy season, Ganashyamam, densely cloudy, Sarva, all, Saundarya, beauty, Sangraham, collection, Charu, beautiful, Ayata, bodily feature, Chatubahu, unto the forearm, Sujata, ultimately beautiful, Ruchira, very pleasing, Ananam, face.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. We will go with the recitation now. Okay, every line 3 times, then 2 lines together 3 times, and the whole shloka 3 times. Our regular this thing. Okay. Snigdha Pravrit Ghanashyamam. Please repeat.
Snigdha Pravrit
Pravrit Ghanashyamam.
Snigdha Pravrit Ghanashyamam.
Snigdha
Snigdha
Pravrit
Pravrit
Ghanashyamam.
Ghanashyamam.
Snigdha Pravrit Ghanashyamam.
Snigdha
Snigdha
Pravrit
Pravrit Ghanashyamam.
Ghanashyamam.
Sarva Saundarya Sangraham.
Sarva Saundarya
Sarva
Sangraham.
Saundarya
Sangraham.
Sarva Saundarya Sangraham.
Sarva Saundarya Sangraham.
Sangraham.
Sarva Saundarya Sangraham.
Sarva Saundarya Sangraham.
Sangraham.
Charvayata Chaturbahu.
Charvayata Chaturbahu.
चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु
चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु
चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु
चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु
सुजाता रुचिराननम्
सुजाता रुचिराननम्
सुजाता रुचिराननम्
सुजाता रुचिराननम्
सुजाता रुचिराननम्
सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Two lines together 3 times. Okay. Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्.
Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्.
Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्.
चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
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 Whole shloka 3 times. Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham. Charvayat chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्. चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham. Charvayat chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्. चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham. Charvayat chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam.
स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम्. चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Thank you so much, devotees. Now you can do it in individual practice. Starting from Deepa Mataji, you can do first. You should go.
स्निग्धप्रावृत्खनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्यसङ्ग्रहं चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Vani Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. स्निग्ध प्रावर्तघनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहं चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Thank you, Mataji. Madhuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna. स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहं चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Lavanya Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Snigdha pravrit ghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham charvayata chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Raju Prabhu, Sirisha Mataji unnara? Okay. Radhika Mataji, can you do it? You send some message. Okay. Saban Prabhu, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I shall be on your room.
Yeah. Okay. Saban Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji. स्निग्ध प्रावद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्य संग्रहम् चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Raju Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Chestara Prabhu?
Yeah, I'll try, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
स्निग्ध प्रावुद्घनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्यसङ्ग्रहं चार्वायत चतुर्बाहु सुजाता रुचिराननम्.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, Lavanya Mataji, we are done, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I have a question, Prabhuji.
ఆ,
సో ప్రభుజీ ఇప్పుడు మనం శివాని లైక్ మెడిటేట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటే మనం పార్వతీదేవి అంటారు కదా, ఎవరి మీద అందరూ నీ మీద మెడిటేట్ చేస్తుంటే నువ్వు ఎవరి మీద మెడిటేట్ చేస్తావంటే శ్రీరామ రామేతి చెప్తారు కదా అప్పుడు.
ఆ,
మళ్ళీ తర్వాత నేను విన్నాను లైక్ లార్డ్ శివ ఇస్ ఆల్వేస్ మెడిటేటింగ్ ఆన్ లార్డ్ సంకర్షణ, రైట్?
ఎస్ మాతాజీ.
సో ఏంటి ప్రభుజీ యాక్చువల్లీ ఎవరి మీద మెడిటేట్ చేస్తారు శివ అంటే? లైక్ ఐ జస్ట్
యాక్చువల్లీ మాతాజీ ఆ కంటెక్స్ట్ ఏంటి అంటే, పార్వతీ మాతాజీ ఏ రుద్రని అడిగిందో దాన్ని బట్టి అనమాట. ఒక్కో రుద్ర ఒక్కొక్కరిని పూజ చేస్తారు మాతాజీ.
11
ఇప్పుడు ఈయన
రుద్ర,
చూడండి.
ఏకాదశి రుద్ర,
యా, సో
ఏకాదశి
ఆ
రుద్ర.
కాంటెక్స్ట్ ఏకాదశి రుద్రని అడిగింది ఆవిడ.
అదే మీరు అంటున్నారు కదా ఏ రుద్రన్ అంటే, ఏకాదశి రుద్రల్లో ఒక రుద్రనా మీరు అనేది?
ఆ 11 రుద్రాల్లో ఒక్కొక్క రుద్ర ఒక్కొక్కరిని పూజిస్తారనమాట. కృష్ణ ఇన్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫార్మ్, యూనో ఎవ్రీవన్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్, ఎవ్రీవన్ ఇస్ అట్రాక్టెడ్ టు డిఫరెంట్. ఇప్పుడు ఈయన చూడండి, ఈయన ఏంటంటే మొత్తం విష్ణు ఫామ్ కి అట్రాక్ట్ అయ్యింది ఈయన. ఒక ఆయన రాముడు అంటాడు, ఒక ఆయన ఏమో సంకర్షణ అంటాడు. సో ఇట్ డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ విచ్ రుద్ర షీ ఈస్ ఆస్కింగ్.
ఓకే ఓకే, సో దెర్ ఇస్ నో లైక్ స్పెసిఫిక్.
No, it's not one Mataji. And it changes again with Brahma's day. Rudras will change, na? That post will be taken by someone else.
Yeah.
So that will be different again.
సో ఒక్కొక్క మన్వంతరాకి ఒక్కొక్క వాళ్ళు ఉంటారు, అప్పుడు రుద్ర అప్పుడు చేసేదాన్ని బట్టి.
యా. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు అడిగింది ఏ మన్వంతరలో ఏ పార్వతి మాత ఏ రుద్రని అడిగిందో మనకు తెలియదు కదా. సో దట్స్ వై వి కెనాట్ సే దట్ ఇట్ ఇస్ స్పెసిఫిక్, ఇట్ ఈస్ హిమ్ ఓన్లీ అని చెప్పలేము అనమాట.
ఆల్వేస్ గెట్ కన్ఫ్యూజ్డ్ విత్ దిస్. లైక్ అంటే చెప్తారు కదా విష్ణు అని, మళ్ళీ సంకర్షణ అంటారు, మళ్ళీ శ్రీరామ రామ రామేతి అని చెప్తారు. సో ఓకే ప్రభు.
This was given by Recitations Prabhu to me, Prabhu Mataji. I'm just giving his answer to you. That's it.
ఎవరు ప్రభుజీ?
మా కౌన్సిలర్ రసికాచార్య ప్రభు ఒక ఆయన ఉన్నారు, చౌపట్టి టెంపుల్, ఆయన బ్రహ్మచారి అనమాట. సో వన్స్ వీ హ్యావ్ దీస్ డౌట్స్ యాక్చువల్లీ, సో హీ క్లియర్డ్ us. Why his doubt was why he was attracted to Sankarshana. He will be chanting on the beads, na? So some say like Rama, but he says that is Sankarshana. So why he is only attracted to Sankarshana, not to Krishna? Because you are telling us to love to Krishna, but here Shiva, he is a Shambhu, Param Shambhu, he is doing
Vishnu,
to Sankarshana.
Yes.
So then he said that it is up to Rudras actually. It's not like Shiva. Sadashiva is different, Rudras are different.
Yes.
So all the scriptures where these things are described are based on the Rudras.
Okay. Got it, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ కూడా ఘనశ్యామం అని చెప్తున్నారు, బట్ వై డోంట్ లైక్ కృష్ణ డైరెక్ట్లీ? సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద రీజన్. సో హిస్ అట్రాక్ట్
400 ఫామ్ వచ్చేసింది ఇప్పుడు మాత్రం, ఇంకేం ఘనశ్యామం అయిపోయింది.
యా 400 ఫామ్. yes Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. Thank you Prabhuji and Matajis for joining today's call and shloka recitation. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Reading ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Rudra Gita ki jai. Vaishnavanam Yadashambho jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna.